Chicago has been making the rap news a lot these days, and it's mostly for one reason: gang crimes. The gang wars between Chicago's biggest gangs, Gangsta Disciples and Black Disciples, have moved from the streets to the rap scene, and the rappers in these gangs keep attacking and killing each other. Thankfully, the rate of gang-related crimes and beef in the rap scene is about to go down a notch, and in today's video, we're going to show you why. History of O Block. AKA the most dangerous block in Chicago, the formal name is Parkway Gardens, located on 6400 block of South King Drive. However, today, O Block goes by many names: WIIC City, Toontown, Kettle World, Sheroid Squad, Whitey Gang, Moona Gang, Stretch Gang, City of Heck, and Get Back Gang. All of these names were coined from fallen disciples of the Black Disciple Gang, which rules over O Block. The popular name everyone knows it as is O Block, and like many of the other names, it was coined from the death of a fallen disciple, O.D. Perry. Behind the name is a story. How about you grab some popcorn, guys? This is about to get interesting. The gang wars between the Black Disciples and the Gangsta Disciples have been existing since the 90s, but at the time, it wasn't as bloody as it got in the last decade. It was just businessmen selling drugs and protecting their territory. However, as the kids of these men grew up, they began to take after their fathers as well as inherit their enemies. Their fathers either got killed or sent to jail, leaving the gangs to be run by irrational teenagers on drugs. In no time, they began killing each other over one gang argument or the other. The O Block was known as a Black Disciple set, which their rival gang, Gangsta Disciples, were on the 63rd block, which they named Tookaville after a fallen disciple. You see, these sets respected each other's territory and knew well not to cross one another's path. But a young kid at the time, Wooski, who was a member of the Gangsta Disciples on the 63rd block, lived on the Black Disciple set because that was where his parents lived. Wooski refused to join the Black Disciples, and he remained loyal to the Gangsta Disciples. This caused him to have beef with the members of the Black Disciples set. The beef got heated up in 2010 to the extent that Wooski killed a Black Disciple, Reezy, on O Block where he lives. He had to move out of O Block and into 63rd as the Black Disciples were looking to gun him down. After Wooski killed Reezy, a huge war started between the two sets, with other sets joining in war such as Gyro City, Taekwon World, 600 and Front Street. The Black Disciples did all they could to get their hands on Wooski, or should I say, their guns. And when they couldn't, they took it out on other Gangsta Disciples members. Trey 5, an O Block and Black Disciple member who is currently in prison, shot and killed one Marcus, a member of the Gangsta Disciples. Since then, a lot of murders and retaliations happened between the blocks. It was during these retaliations that O.D. Perry was killed. On January 12, 2011, a member of the Gangsta Disciples, Tuka, was killed, and the Gangsta Disciples believed it was done by one O.D. Perry. They had their revenge on Tuka's birthday on August 2011 when the Gangsta Disciples' best shooter, Jakira Barnes, aka K.I., shot O.D. 3 times. Jakira was Tuka's best friend. Jakira was also shot and killed by the Black Disciples on her way to a party 3 years later. According to reports, the shooting was done by King Von, who at the time wanted Jakira to be his girlfriend despite their rivalry. Undeleted tweets from their Twitter accounts are proof of the relationship between Jakira and King Von. O Block became what it is today after the death of O.D. Perry. The Black Disciples renamed their set O Block in honor of their fallen disciple, O.D. Perry. Gang arrest. The gang-related crimes within O Block and their ops street increased after the death of O.D. Perry. According to reports, between 2011 and 2014, there were 19 gunshot victims in the area, and many of them were killed, including Jakira Barnes, O.D. Perry, and Shondell Tuka Gregory. This caused the feds to be extra protective and investigate the area. While carrying out their investigation, the authorities discovered the deep-rooted history of the gangs as well as their leaders and their crimes. With detailed information on the Black Disciples and Gangsta Disciples gang, the authorities led an operation in July 2020 where 23 Black Disciples were arrested. Among those arrested were Darnell McMiller, who was also known as Murder. According to the reports, McMiller was the leader of the Black Disciple street gang at the time the arrest was made.
Disciples captured here in a surveillance photo is facing federal drug and weapons charges. Darnell McMiller, nicknamed Murder, one of 23 defendants arrested yesterday.
Several other alleged high-ranking members of the Black Disciples were also charged and arrested, including Clarence January, who allegedly leads the gang's Dog Pound factions, Kenneth Browns, who allegedly supplied the gang with drugs for distribution in Chicago, as well as Charles Knight, an alleged high-ranking member of the Gangsta Disciples street gang, who was charged as part of the probe with supplying narcotics to McMiller's crew. After the arrest of the 23 Black Disciples, including the leader of the gang, the Black Disciple members mellowed down a bit, and many believe that the arrests may just bring about the end of the Black Disciples. And they aren't wrong.
We're here to announce a big win. This is a big win for our team and for the people of the South Side of Chicago.
Selling O-Block. The end of O-Block can be attributed to many things, from the 23 gang members' arrest to the constant incarceration of other gang members on the block, the killings, and even the fact that the apartments have been sold. Yep, you heard that right. The infamous Parkway Gardens, aka O-Block, found a buyer, and things are about to get pretty safe around there. In April 2020, O-Block was put up for sale, and as a means to protect his hood and his gang, Lil Durk offered to buy the apartments. He made a tweet about it where he wrote, "I'll buy it, it don't matter how much it is." Sadly, I don't think anyone informed Lil Durk that real estate agent moguls don't got Twitter fingers and they move in silence. Lil Durk didn't even get to place a bid on the house before it got swooped off the list by an unknown buyer. To this day, no one knows who bought the Parkway Gardens apartments nor the purchase price. A blog broke the news of the purchase and the headline read, "O-Block, a 13-acre campus spread across nearly 36 buildings, was purchased shortly after it went up for sale." The blog post read, "O-Block, Parkway Gardens, will be disbanded and relocated. O-Block has been sold, and best believe it's going to be developed beautifully and completely out of the price range of most current Woodline residents." That jewel in Metro Squash facility should have been the writing on the wall. This is about to get interesting and eerily familiar. Can someone say Cabrini or Stateway? Many people are happy it wasn't bought by Lil Durk because they believe that he may not renovate the apartments properly, and since it belonged to a gang member, it will most likely continue to be the home for the gangs and their violence. Rappers from O-Block. A couple of years back, no one knew about O-Block except people living in Chicago. O-Block went mainstream in 2020 when rappers started talking about it with reference to their gang beef. The rappers who made O-Block known include the late King Von and Fredo Santana, Lil Durk, Big Woney, Moo-Wop, Boss Top, and Chief Keef. These rappers are the most popular rappers from O-Block. King Von, who released his debut album shortly after his death, Welcome to O-Block, was a member of O-Block, and he had been active in the hood's business, drugs, shooting, stealing, since 2009. King Von had beef with many other rappers, especially from the Ops, 63rd, before he was shot and killed in 2020. To pay their respect to King Von, the residents of O-Block made a mural of the rapper on one of their walls, and they called him the King of O-Block. O-Block may be a gang region for most of Chicago's rappers, but not only rappers live there, or should I say, have lived there. Former First Lady of the United States, Michelle Obama, was once a resident in O-Block. When Michelle Obama was a baby, her family lived in O-Block and Parkway Gardens. However, she wasn't even 2 when her parents moved the family from Parkway Gardens to a home on Euclid Avenue, closer to the lake, in 1965. When speaking about her days on O-Block, Michelle Obama described the block as a wonderful small apartment building, she said. "But now when I pass it, I was like, God, I never saw that apartment in the way that I'm seeing it now." Reverend Corey Brooks, a pastor who campaigned against the rampant shootings in O-Block for months, also spoke about the time Michelle Obama lived in O-Block. He said, "The difference between the mid-1960s, when the First Lady's family lived there, and today is drastic. The environment was family-focused, people were working. When you eliminate all those things from a community, men not in the household and education failing, it would be a drastic difference than what the First Lady of the United States and her family experienced." Basketball player Dwayne Wade is also from the O-Block, but he didn't stay there very much. Sadly, his family has suffered the impact of the gang wars in the area. In 2012, his nephew was shot twice on his legs while he was visiting his father in the neighborhood. His cousin was also shot and killed in the head and on the arm by a stray while walking her baby in a stroller in the neighborhood. This incident happened in 2016. Dwayne Wade has spoken publicly several times about the impact of the gang wars on the community, and he has some charity organizations to assist people who have suffered losses as a result of the gang wars in Chicago.
You can't change every neighborhood, but I try to, and my family has tried to focus on certain areas You know, I grew up on the south side, I grew up in the south suburbs, and we try to focus in those areas and try to uplift those communities.
Rappers who have died from O-Block. There are many rappers from O-Block repping the rap scene, including Lil Durk, Chief Keef, and many more. The late rapper King Von was just starting to gain his foot in the rap and hip-hop industry when he got shot and killed. An unfortunate and violent fight broke out right outside a nightclub, and King Von was involved in the confrontation. In the footage that was released, King Von was seen throwing the first punch at one of the guys when suddenly shots were fired and he was sent to the ground. Sadly, he couldn't be treated and he died as a result of the gunshot injuries. 2 other men died from the shootout. The whole of Chicago, especially O-Block, felt the loss of King Von. He may not have been the biggest around the world, but the people of Southside Chicago loved and respected him. They showed their love for him through emotional tributes and memorials, including a mural in his very own hood. Also, Fredo Santana was Chief Keef's cousin and the oldest member of GBE, Glory Boys Entertainment, later known as Glow Gang. He was born and raised in the O-Block, but he never allowed the gang lifestyle to rule his life. Although he wasn't that much of a saint, he had been in prison before, and when he got out, he decided to turn his life around. He was a well-known rapper and one of the early Chicago drill rappers. Unlike many other Chicago rappers, Fredro's death was not a result of gang violence. He died in January 2018. He was found dead in his LA home. Many presumed that he had OD'd. However, his autopsy report ruled that cardiovascular disease was the main cause in addition to idiopathic epilepsy. While the rapper was given a prescription of Keppra in order to treat his seizures, he was suffering from them on a monthly basis that tended to appear as a cluster of seizures leading up to his death, according to the report. The O-Block gang today. The gang rates in O-Block have reduced drastically since King Von's death. In fact, it has become a tourist center in some way, as fans of the rap industry are beyond intrigued and also daring to see what life in the O looks like. The Black Disciple set is likely over, or if they are not, they'd probably be hiding till the smoke on their tails settles. With the arrest in 2020, many members of the Black Disciples are locked up behind the big walls, and those who aren't there are either 6 feet deep or hiding somewhere till they can move again. Many of the rappers still claim O-Block as their hood, like Lil Durk, but when he was arrested alongside King Von for a shooting that they were involved in Atlanta, Lil Durk told the authorities that he had long abandoned the gang life and he was no longer part of the gang. With the spotlight O-Block has received in the upcoming renovations, it's safe to say that the Black Disciples won't be disturbing O-Block for a very long time.